Hello, everyone. It is June 3rd. It's already June. At time of recording, I'm joined by my friends, McDonald's Chicken Nuggets, and also Brian. Brian, how we doing?
Hi, Happy Meal McNuggets. How you doing? Oh, sorry. Hi, audience. Good man. How are you doing? Besides scarfing down some food.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Um, kind of getting around that. Like most of my mental space is being occupied by work-related things.
Yeah,
But
same.
I've been playing Zelda Skyward Sword on the Switch, so that's been cool. Kind of like a change of pace. I think there's really something to be said about those types of video games, like those puzzle platformers, and they just have such a good blend of um, unlocking new items and those items that you use to solve different puzzles, and going back to areas that you once were to use the new items that give you access to some of the areas that you weren't able to access before. And yeah, I think just video games back before they were just they tried to make them as addicting as possible without any substance are like really good. And I think a lot is to be said about like those types of games and kind of how they shaped my um, kind of critical thinking or creative thinking landscape. So I definitely think like going back to them, it's been kind of like a cool, mental exercise, but also very entertaining. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit, and glad that I can have the ability to kind of make time for it. I've had the game for however many years now. I started it at one point and then just never came back to it. But I picked it back up again a couple weeks ago, and like once you get into the groove with it, it's been a pretty nice ride. So I've been enjoying that. Um, as I've mentioned, not very cash money of me, but I did pick up McDonald's on the way home, so I'm trying to scarf down some nuggets, some fries, any just a list of everything that's bad for me um, in this one meal. And yeah, but otherwise, I think work's been going well. Starting to hit that groove and doing some things that kind of like exploratory with the data and some of the processes in that. So I typically will start out. I've probably mentioned this before, but typically start out like trying to identify one problem, and one problem becomes 10, and kind of sifting through and trying to figure out, well, how do we get down to a simplified like report that can help us identify some of these things, and like what's worth identifying, signal versus noise type things. um, so yeah, that's been good. But yeah, work has been kind of not stressful, but just the mental deep work that it takes has been yeah, challenging to say the least. But still trying to make time, with the dog, and after this, taking the dog for a longer walk. Something not so chill happened.
Oh no.
My wash machine, I mean, it's been broken. There's something with like the water sensor, so it wasn't filling up with water all the
Mm.
way. So there were a time where a load would come out of the dryer and it looked like a bunch of oil stains on all of my clothes. So since then, I've kind of had a fix of just putting the cycle to like max water. Just just like data centers basically. But that is pretty much solved it. I haven't had to check any of my shirts for a while, but there was one shirt in particular that I haven't been able to find, and I found it, lo and behold, hanging up in the closet. But it's kind of I'm getting ready. It's not. It's kind of like dawn outside. Lights not on. Not too much light coming through, and I put it on and go about my day. And then I go to the bathroom and look at like my shoulder, and like, oh, there's a spot on my shoulder. So then I turn around, and then there's just like looks like puddles, like a sash of oil stains going down the back of my shirt. So I went through about half the day like that, and no one said anything. They just went about their day, didn't
People are
mention
locked
it,
in.
and yeah. So I had to go out in my car and find a crew neck that's been sitting in the back of my car for however knows how long. I gave it the old sniff test. It smelled fine and threw it on. And lo and behold, I'm the guy wearing a crew neck in 80-degree weather in the office. And I just like went around and was telling people like, "Hey, you got a crew neck on?" Like, "Yeah, I got to stay into my shirt." Um, so that was fun, but I feel like it's good exposure therapy, I guess, to just kind of being embarrassed. Um, you know, that stuff I think would have really bothered me when I was younger and when I hadn't been working on, feeling more secure about, some things that just don't matter. And I mean, it really is something that doesn't matter. As far as like, people that may have seen me, it's like no publicity is bad publicity, as they say.
Right.
Um, So yeah, that wasn't cool. And the other day we did a volunteer event. Not sure how much familiarity you have with either the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum or the Ann Arbor like Leslie Science and Nature Center.
I am not familiar with either, but I commend you for doing volunteer work. My work does that a lot too. In fact, I just got a T-shirt for our upcoming Habitat for Humanity event that we're doing in like a couple weeks.
Nice. Yeah, so everyone like volunteer, even if it's not through work, volunteer work. I mean, it definitely makes you feel better about yourself. It's a good way to spend time. You're typically just doing things that you would do, at home somewhere else. So what we were doing, we are at the Leslie Nature and Science Center, or maybe there's a different name for it, but they are. They merged with the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum. So either way, I would recommend going to both of those places if you have kids, even if you don't. Very fun, cool places.
Hmm.
But we were weeding around their, bird enclosures. So they have, I believe they rescued these animals that they couldn't survive in the wild, so they have to be held in captivity. And they were very clear, like our goal is to never have any captive animals. It's not right for them to be captive, but they wouldn't be able to survive otherwise. So it's kind of like the lesser of two evils. Would we rather have these birds, die, or would we have them in captivity? So they had a bald eagle, they had a red-tailed hawk, turkey vultures, I think a few different types of owls. So it was very cool of like the birds that they had on site.
Hmm.
They had other activities and stuff for the kids. They had like an indoor room where they have a lot of turtles and salamanders, frogs, what have you. But yeah, we were weeding around the bird enclosures. So we did that for a couple hours. Company got us lunch from Panera. So it was a good way to spend the day, and I think it kind of breaks up some of the like doing something that's not work when you're supposed to be doing work feels like it's fun anyways. So like regardless of what you're doing, we're sitting like pulling weeds out of an area so that they could throw mulch down and do some planting of plants and stuff. But it was a lot of fun. It was cool to be outside, and I did it with two of my other team members. So yeah, we all had a good time doing that. So that's kind of been what I've been doing for the week. Daphne, the Doberman, my dog, I took her to the vet yesterday just for like a checkup and to speak about like heartworm medication.
Hmm.
So that was good. Everything seems in order. She has gained 6 pounds. Uh,
Nice.
and yeah, I mean, she's been getting fed. So after this, I was planning on taking her on a longer walk because I know she had to be in a crate for a little bit longer than she would have liked. So I'm hoping to do something to tire her out. But
Nice.
yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing as far as work goes. Today I had 4 meetings just around the website that I work on. I had a status update, which I'm sorry, those uh, to have those every week, maybe every other week is fine, but I get why the frequency of them, but like it just feels like this could have been an email, like if there's something very important, like maybe you could hop on a call, but like I hate weekly status updates because it's like, okay, we're working on this, working on that, and then it's like over. Um, but for I guess maybe it's just because like I double and triple check Jira and Confluence like every day, like to see if there's any updates. Like I personally just don't need them, but had that this morning. Finally scheduled the kickoff for the actual redesign portion, right? So we were in like the search engine part, and then it's like panic started to set in just a bit, only because I don't have as much as I thought that I needed done. Like sometimes when you're just like going over this in meetings and you're like, oh shit, I didn't notice that. And, you know, got to scrub things over with a fine tooth comb. Again, it's just like sometimes I get down on myself just because I don't have like the greatest attention to detail. Like, broad strokes, I'll get a thing, but sometimes there's just like little tiny details that I'll just miss. So, um, then I had a kind of a meeting about some of the material or the documents that we had to get over for search, and um, so and then after that there was a meeting that I had to do about how our data is structured, like a taxonomy. It's just been a whole busy week of meetings and not getting actual like work done. And my VP comes back into town tomorrow, and it's like I feel like I have nothing to really update him as far as like you know actual work that I've been doing. It's just been tied up in meetings. So, um, kind of not stressed, but it's just like you have to like kind of like almost feel like I'm like uh bullshitting a book report like I'm back in school. It's like where I just like read the book the night before kind of thing. Um, but I just speak the confidence and project that like, hey, obviously I don't use like the meetings as an excuse, but you're just like, hey, I didn't have as much free time or dedicated time for this. Um, you know, I'll be working on finishing this at X date. So he's pretty pretty easygoing about everything. And he knows that I've been kind of going through a lot in terms of just like I've had to help out our other e-com site, our direct to client website, or direct to consumer website, I should say. Just fixing a bunch of listings and code and getting projects there. So my plate is kind of full. Where I typically kind of struggle is just priority with some things, especially at a company that doesn't necessarily have like firm deadlines for things. As long as you're working on things, they don't necessarily care. But I still just kind of feel sometimes that it's like it's great to have that as an attitude, but it'd be nice to have some deadlines to at least give myself something to shoot for. So I've been working on giving myself more targets like that. So it's like kind of less stressful. Also helps with prioritizing things. I've been writing things or typing things like lists out of what I can actually feel like I can accomplish for the day, possibly for the week. Staying organized that way. One of the apps you always used to build first in like a boot camp or whenever you're taking an online course for coding was always building a to-do list. I feel like I could have probably built myself my own, but luckily like Microsoft and Google and all of them have kind of those own built-in tasks. So all this will kind of say I've just been a little bit more on, I don't want to say on edge, like I haven't been snappy or anything, but I just have been worrying about things more than I have. Trying again, I'm still working on my self-sabotage, but I don't feel like I'm tempted to do any of those at this current moment, but I'm still just kind of accepting the fact that I where I'm at as far as actual workload's concerned is it's starting it out on the heavy side, but I think I don't have a lot of answers for questions that he may or may not have in regards to the project. So I think it's just like I don't like the feeling of not knowing, maybe possibly feeling out of control, I guess. As I am the project manager, the webmaster, the Jedi master, whatever the hell, the Sith Lord, whatever the hell you want to call me. I just feel like I'm not on top of this, even though I've had meetings upon meetings just for this one meeting, right? And so I just want to have an alignment of things, and all the things I want them to be great and perfect, but it's not always going to be like that. So just spiraling, trying to talk it out, and that's why I've had all these meetings, and I even had therapy earlier today. So I'm feeling, generally a lot better about things, but still I have like that like spider sense in the back of my head, almost like the Nick Cage version of the spider sense, where he just like rubs the back of his neck. Which I don't know if you've seen Spider Noir, highly recommend it. It was entertaining.
No, you already spoiled it. That was the one thing I was looking forward to, was the Nick Cage Spidey sense.
Yeah. it's just Nick Cage just with Spider-Man, so take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. But yeah, I get where you're going with kind of like the self-sabotage thing. I feel it a lot of times too, of not having an answer to a specific question, or trying to provide an answer that is understandable, if I've perceived their question correctly. It is it is difficult sometimes to feel like you're inadequate because you don't have the answer to a specific question. But I think it comes down a lot of times to the amount of people that we interact with, and we have companies that have gotten so much bigger, not only because of tasks but around like who's asking the right questions, or when you work collaboratively within teams, it's like, okay, well, this matters from a technical perspective, but from the sales perspective, it like we need it to be different. um, and a lot of times too, in the meetings that I'm in, it's typically like some of these check-ins, like in these meetings you're given actions to dig deeper into a specific subject. Or if you're doing some of these meetings, maybe it's good to have kind of that to-do list, or say, you know what, I don't have the answer to that question, but I'll get it to you next week. So maybe
Right.
that's like around some of the check-ins, and can help work against some of the feelings of inadequacies. But even, where I work and all the processes, and there's a ton of stuff I ask all the time, and I will, shake people down. I'm like, who owns this? What is this process like? Who does this? What does this do? And it's,
Right.
so,
Right.
but it's different when you're, one-on-one, or in an environment where you're expected to know, and you just don't. And it's harder to, um, I think it's harder to be comfortable with not knowing, when you get the feeling like you are the guy to go to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm in I forget how many people are at your company. It's probably like significantly larger than mine, but it's like I'm at a small enough company where it's like I have to be the subject matter expert, even if I don't want to be. So, unfortunately, it kind of falls in my lap,
The
especially.
subject matter, it's as good as we've got.
Pretty much, yes. Subject matter XGPT. No, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, it's sort of. I guess I'm trying to look for it. It's frustrating for sure, but it's also builds character. Builds its growth. Right, I'm not comfortable, and that's where kind of sink or swim time, and it shouldn't be that say it like that. It's kind of dramatic for what it entails, but this is just one of those meetings that I'm going to have. It's, I'm going to have to be like that, be like, I'm not sure, um, and then it's like some new things come to light. Like we may have to add some filters on certain categories, um, you know, to open up to actually show product, or, get as a user, you don't want to click more than like 3 times to get to something that you're looking for unless you're going through the search bar. So, it's like one issue that I'm kind of having with this platform that we're on. And it's like, I don't want to not get guidance on that from especially somebody who's just invested $70,000 into a new website. So, and I also don't want to be like, I don't know how to fix it. Let's put more money into it. Right. So, um,
Yeah, what do you mean? I ain't heard nothing.
yeah.
Slides $20 across the desk. All right,
Or,
so this is how you center a div.
yeah. See, yeah. You want to see a hover over? I got that. I'm pretty good at that. Taxonomy. Oh no, that's old. That's old news.
Here, here's what they call a modal. You know,
Yeah.
this is high premium class stuff.
This and if you like that, I got 20 more where that came from. No problem, pal. Uh, anyway, fuck, I just lost my train of thought. Or what's going on with you, David? We're gonna transition back over to you.
While you're talking about, trying to speak confidently and have the answers for someone that invested a bunch of money into this new website.
Oh yeah. Just give me money. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. No.
Yeah, but I think sometimes too, some of that just like conversational type um, meetings or check-ins or something. It's like, the person, like I do think there's value in it. But to your point, like, yeah, if it's not structured in a specific way, or if you're, um, coming, if you're both bringing something to the meeting, that could be helpful. But a lot of times it just kind of gets, it's scheduled. You show up to it, and you're going to have questions and whatnot. But outside of that, like, yeah, it's hard to kind of prepare for and get ready for, and um, do a lot of these things. So I definitely get the that feeling. But yeah, I mean, is it more? You said it's more lax, right? It's not like you're being harped on about deadlines or why you don't have the answer to specific questions, or
Yeah, no, I think I'm just putting more pressure on than what this actually is. So it's just it is more of just like a check in for him because he's been gone for like I think like 2.5 weeks with like several conferences. So I also just need like guidance as far as like should we be giving them like sales data to for seeding our algorithms is in our search engine. It's like it's going to be helpful for things like ad campaigns and other customers. um what do you call that, like a widget for like frequently bought, like people who bought that, that'll kind of, I guess, especially in the day and age of like AI, it's gonna hopefully train and auto populate that, although I don't want to necessarily put all my eggs in one basket on that thought process. But um yeah, I just need to like I always use this analogy where I'm just kind of like a wind up toy. Like I'm just going to keep going and going, and occasionally I'm going to probably hit a wall and fall over, and I just need to be picked up and kind of put in the right direction. So, no quit over here in this dog, but sometimes I don't have. I'm like Isaiah Pacheco. I just kind of run. Maybe be in the back of my own lineman, but I'm just going to run as hard as I can with no direction. So sometimes, if better coaching, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get that first down. So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, you know, life's pretty good. My wife is staying busy, so I'm getting more time with one-on-one time with my son. His last day of school is like next Thursday, so it's like that's going to be a whole kind of transition because we do have to get him at some point tested for autism over the summer. We met with his final IEP, which is individual education plan, just to kind of check to see where he's going. So he's 5, but he's kind of got like motor and speech for or gross motor function and kind of like speech patterns for like a 2.5-year-old. So he's a bit he's pretty delayed. So we're getting like a plan for them, and then the expectations that we have for when he kind of is going into kindergarten in the fall. We want to make sure that at least early on that he has an adult, because he responds way better to them than kids his own age. He's just kind of at that point mentally. He's starting to make friends. Like he has kind of a friends group, but he still plays by himself a lot, and he's kind of kid adjacent. So he kind of relies on adults as far as in speech patterns, kind of without context. He'll just like point to things. So, it's kind of an emotional meeting, I guess. My wife was, kind of just crying several times for various reasons, but I kind of was internally too, but, I had to be the strong, stern one, I guess. But it was a lot because that was the first meeting of like that I've been to in a long time, so I didn't really have any expectations. But long story short, he is getting individualized attention, and a lot of like his speech pathologist and PT and OT people that he see are kind of throughout the district, so he'll be seeing the same people, so he'll be comfortable. But he's grown a lot. So he's been in preschool essentially 2.5 years. It was just before he turned 3. And he's grown so much. He has a long way to go, but who doesn't? And so we're thankful, and we're hopeful for him, and we're going to spend a lot of time. At least my plan is to help him. We get kind of like like exercises and things like that from each of his specialists that he sees, for techniques that us parents can help him to get better. And it's like as much as this is another thing where I kind of just want to worry about his future, things like getting bullied just because he may be different and all that. So like those are things that I can't necessarily control, and I'm not necessarily panicking about them, but as a parent, it's things that you kind of stick in the back of your mind. So um I think I just kind of took a back seat as far as like some of his developmental stuff, because I don't want to call myself a coward, but it's like I definitely have not put my best foot forward on that. And I've kind of come to the realization that I've just got to step up and do more. It's like saying that out loud is a bit relieving, but it's also at the same time, it's like I felt like I was holding myself and him back in a way. And I'm not saying that I'm going to like be a miracle worker and I get Helen Keller to just all of a sudden speak, but I know there's things more that I can be doing. And as much as I want like him to like go for sports and all these things, he's just not ready, and like I have to help prepare him to be a better person and ready to attack the world. So it's more conversations that I have to be had with internally and with like my wife of because it's like it's her busy season too. She's part owner of a restaurant, and she has a cake business, so it's we just have to almost like we're divorced parents, but not really. But sometimes it's just like her schedule is busier than mine, so I need to just step up more. So this is not me getting down on myself. This is just kind of being like accountable to myself, because I'll definitely listen to this episode after and play this back. It's motivation. Like, you got to keep going. there's always more things we can do, even if we don't have the time to do them.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough to hear it. Of just just the situation, and trying to, uh, which I don't know. I think maybe some of it. Um, I know you'd mentioned like cowardice. Like I don't know if it's necessarily that, or like feeling like you're not doing enough. it, it seems like there's only so much that you can do. But yeah, I mean, if you feel like, and if you think that you could put some more effort into it, and then um, you have thought about it, and kind of part of that being present and checking in to see, um, the goals that you'd like to have and what you'd like to do differently. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty commendable to hear about it and have you speak about it, and yeah, kind of set that for yourself, like going forward, of what you'd like to do more. But no, he's definitely lucky to have you both as parents, and that you're both doing as much as you can. I think in a lot of different cases, life just kind of gets in the way, and we get distracted, and um, time flies too. It's more or less of what I've realized. So yeah, I mean, even having the introspection to kind of talk through some of that, to give yourself an idea or a thought of, um, maybe I could be better in this area. I could be doing this better. I need to be, um, more involved in helping with that. So yeah, that's pretty, it's pretty inspiring. And thank you for sharing.
Sharon's Karen, my friend.
Yeah. We were talking about listening back to the episode, for motivation. I'm like, yeah, we need the listeners anyways.
Right?
But yeah, that's it's tough. I mean, my sister's kind of dealing with it with my nephew too. I don't know, like a few other people that um, are kind of going through that, whether it's developmentally, what you had described. I know my nephew is presumably um, autistic, or they think he is, but he's just kind of too young to tell at this point. But I do think there's going to be some of those delays with development. And another friend of mine that um, they've kind of had the same, kind of have come to the same conclusion. Like he's not quite old enough yet for them to really know, but there have been some delays in like the checkpoints of when he's supposed to be talking or doing some other things.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough, especially when they're young, because you hope they grow out of it, or and maybe he still can. That's certainly all of them can. But you also just want to be, um, I guess you want to put your child with the best success. So, if you get him tested and he maybe doesn't have this and he has that, at least we know, that adults who are in his most life the most, his teachers and staff at his elementary school, or at least they'll know how to help him and kind of attack what needs to be fixed, and obviously we'll have a better understanding. So, I just think it's definitely hard to maybe admit that you need to get your child help, but it's not doing anything about it is certainly absolutely not the answer. So, um, accepting certain truths, and this goes for more than anything, is kind of just the first step to, or I guess, is acceptance. Whatever it is, um, give whatever situation it's. I mean, I never went to AA, but it's kind of just like the what do they call it, the serenity prayer. Accept I'll look that up. But learn to accept the things you can't control, and learning the difference. There's not some things that I can't control with him or the situation, but again, we have to put ourselves in the best situation. So I think with that in mind, kind of talking this out, it's, I have a plan forward for how to fix, not fix my son. I don't need to fix my son. He's perfect no matter what happens, but fixing this fucking website. I think sometimes just needs to speak it out loud, maybe speaking other things and looking at items that necessarily don't have to do with it, but sometimes it just unlocks it. So I think I'm kind of Mr. Fix It this summer. So coming to a theater near you, baby.
Yeah, just start playing some Zelda, man. The synapses will start firing. And you're like, oh, I just got to go to this other area, get the grappling hook, and come back. And then I got to sing this. I got to play this song, and then
Yeah,
like,
God, yeah,
yeah. So that's the serendipity over some of that discovery work, or just kind of like it's the same thing in school. Like if you don't know the answer, then just skip it, come back to it. And like sometimes you do like realize you had the answer, you just had to unlock it. And that was the biggest thing with the coding boot camp, which I know you're playing in the big leagues now, but
I guess
it's kind of the same concept of anytime you're trying to fix a problem or solve a problem. Like a lot of times I feel like me being inundated with the problem, or like I've gotten to the point where I've gotten too deep and I need to step back. Or I need to throw some dirt back on there, and then try to approach it from a level that's like get more of a lay of the land than trying to dig deep into one specific spot. And yeah, I mean, but there's the problem with it is once it clicks, you're like, oh, how did I not know this? How did I not get this? And then you run the cycle again. And it's really like those ebbs and flows throughout life, throughout work that we really find ourselves in. So it's a lot of times I just like not really chasing the flow, but I'm sitting in the ebb, and I just I gotta know it's not permanent. It's not going to be there forever. And I'm not submitting things that are getting like, all the oohs and the ahs, but just doing the work. And
yeah.
Sometimes that's good enough, but it's hard those days I get done with work and feel like I didn't accomplish anything. But sometimes too, it's good to just talk to somebody. You're like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, this is great. um, so it is, yeah, it's always nice to talk to somebody and or go over some things with other people, because I feel like one of the areas I get too deep in is in my own head.
Oh yeah.
Which just kind of comes with the territory of doing anything in a large company with a bunch of people. Like, not everyone's going to have the best opinion of me. I have like the opportunity to talk to everyone, and even if I did, it's not like it's not like everyone's going to get along all the time, or I'm not going to be able to solve a problem right away. Like, I'm typically overconfident and then get humbled, and then that's kind of the ebb and flow of my typical workday. But yeah, I mean it's fun stuff. Ebbs and flows of life, and just the realization that maybe more effort could be put to something else, and then you come back, it's like, oh yeah, this is easy.
Right. Yeah. It's like sometimes the hard pill to swallow, I guess, depending on the situation. But it's, sometimes you think you're putting your best effort, and maybe it's just a little pivot, a little step back, perspective, and really, I was used to hate that cliche. People would post on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, whenever you're stuck on a problem, just like go for a walk, come back, and I'll give you perspective. Because that was like never worked for me. Like if I especially on like coding problems, but like I guess it does have its merits at times. And you know, working on a problem that like doesn't even, it's not even related. But yeah, I mean, just talking it out or walking it out. um, yeah, just sometimes it just unlocks a new perspective. So um, crazy how that works.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I studied psychology, and I was just like sitting there every day, like, what? Going over some of the, concepts and experiments and things. So, um, there is like a mantra I'd like, and I forget where I heard it. It was in some either TV show or movie, probably something dumb, but it's like, I'll try my best, and someone goes, your best is good enough. So that's what, I typically will tell myself in my own head. It's like, well, I'm doing my best. And then you know, the, the nicer voice is like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that in life, work, and whatever you're doing, a lot of times, like, you're like, I'm trying my best, and like, I know it's good enough. And where perfection is the enemy of good, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but good is, a lot better than nothing in a lot of cases, or a lot better than, um, if you're looking at process improvement, or if you're looking on, self improvement, or a better way to spend your time. It's that, at least you're thinking about it, at least you're putting effort towards it, versus not doing something, or um, God, it was
Yeah. I mean,
there's some other cliche that's been talked about too, and I can't seem to remember it.
yeah. I mean, it's, um, I think, just the biggest thing that I fight every day is my own laziness. Like I would really just want to come home and take a nap and not do anything, have meals prepared for me all the time. But when I'm not in that tax bracket quite yet, I don't even know if I ever will be. But it's like I've got credit card debt and I've got all this, so it's like and like I asked my friend who I work with, who's a plumber, I was like, "Hey, can I just pay you to like come over and snake out um our uh bathtub and our bathroom faucet?" And um he's like, "Dude, just plunge them both. Like, I'll show you a technique on how to do it." And I was like, I don't feel like in my head, I'm like, I don't feel like being lazy, but it would also probably save me like at least 75, $100 for him to come over and do it. Because that's what at minimum I would pay him just for him coming over to do all that. But it's something that I also have to learn, even then he's like, um, just do that and then like let me know how it goes. So it's kind of just like, yeah, I still have the support, like the fallback of him coming over and doing it, but it's also I just need to learn what problem I'm doing, again, because I can't just pay for things to go away. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to do some sort of work on yourself, or uh, if you're doing some sort of house chore work, whatever the case is, like you have to put forth that effort at some point. So
Yeah, and taking that step, and um, yeah, just working with the homies, man. It's cool. It's
exactly.
yeah, it's fun just to hang around and BS. And it's always better doing something stressful with someone else. But yeah, I mean, you still got to put the effort in and get your self mentally prepared for doing that. So
Yeah, I mean, I also got throw some pea gravel into a hole that fucking chipmunk has burrowed in under our Three Seasons room. So, and then throw some Quickcrete over and some steel wool over it. So even if it does want to come back, it can't, because they hate steel wool. So home ownership sucks, but you pay for your freedom, so to speak. it's either that or you pay through the nose with renting and everything maybe is done for you, but you don't really own your property at the end of the day. So there's some financial advice. It's not even really advice, just perspective. Um, but you know, I'm 37. I think when I was 18, I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out eventually. One, there's no figuring everything out. That's quite literally impossible. But two, you're never too old to learn new things, especially around the house. So
Yeah. Um, no, I mean, if my if my younger self had met me today, um, yeah, it would be quite a lot different than where I thought I would be. But I think as in getting older, like trying to be um, becoming more comfortable with yourself and learning more about yourself to set yourself up for success when you want to do something. Um, I think that is like kind of what comes with the wisdom of being around. Um, and of course, you like try to, tell anyone that's young about the world and how it is. And they're like, yeah, whatever, shut up. Like,
right.
I'm going to be a crypto billionaire. It's like, all right, man, but you got to learn those lessons you got to take those hits, learn those lessons. So we're all there once at one point. But yeah, I gotta get going. I gotta take this dog for a walk before I get too lazy.
Yeah, I
So
get that.
I'll leave you with that. I don't know if I don't want to cut you off if you had any other closing remarks or anything else you wanted to touch on.
No, glad that you picked. Maybe I should pick up Skyward Sword, but currently just playing 007 First Light. Maybe it doesn't have any puzzles or anything like that, but I'm hunting the most dangerous game of all, virtual people. I'm kidding. No, that's really don't have anything enlightening, so can just end it there.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. Thanks for sharing your story with everyone. Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone, for listening if you've gotten this far. And we will see you next week.
yeah. Talk to you later, everyone.